We had the best economy in the history of our country in my first term, and we're blowing it out now. We're blowing it away now. And despite our little diversion to the lovely country of Iran, lovely place, but we had to do that because otherwise bad things could happen, really bad things.
Has Trump ever seen this coming? Is the IRGC's darkest revenge not those missiles raining down? What if the real nitrogen nightmare is just hitting now, as Iran's missiles get ready once again? Could Mojtaba's scariest revenge plan leave millions starving by 2027? Will Iran's Hormuz blockade trigger the worst food crisis since the Ukraine war? Did Trump and Hegseth make their biggest miss, letting Iran hit where it hurts most? The massive fertilizer shock erupting from the intensifying Iran war threatens to ignite a prolonged multi-year global food crisis, with The Guardian issuing stark warnings about empty shelves, skyrocketing prices, and hungry populations from Asia to Africa. World Central Kitchen founder José Andrés delivers a chilling warning that this relentless war could trigger a completely silent yet devastating collapse in the intricate global fertilizer trade network, disrupting shipments from key producers and leaving farmers worldwide without the nitrogen they desperately need to grow crops. Renowned chef and humanitarian José Andrés warns world leaders to shift their focus far beyond volatile oil markets and zero in on the crumbling soil health crisis amid the escalating risks of the Iran war, where blockades and sanctions choke off essential supplies at the worst possible time. As the charity founder bluntly predicts, the entire world remains sleepwalking into an avoidable yet catastrophic famine crisis set to explode by fall 2026 and ravage through 2027, with governments ignoring the early signs of crop failures and supply chain breakdowns. These critical fertilizer delays now risk farmers completely missing those irreplaceable key planting windows across hemispheres, leading to dramatically cut yields in the coming harvests that could slash global food production by double digits. The resulting lower crop output will spark a terrifying chain reaction of surging food prices, widespread shortages, and deepening food insecurity that ripples from breadbaskets to urban slums, disproportionately devastating the poorest communities first. Explosive Strait of Hormuz tensions strike not just oil supertankers but the vital nitrogen fertilizer flows that power modern agriculture, with delays piling up and inventories dwindling at ports from the Gulf to Europe. Delayed fertilizer shipments across oceans risk farmers missing those precise planting windows entirely, guaranteeing weaker harvest yields that undermine food security for billions in the year ahead. These mounting trade shocks will inevitably trigger brutal higher prices for staples, force lower agricultural output worldwide, and hit poor nations the hardest, where import-dependent economies buckle under the strain. Even the smallest price rises in basic grains and staples hurt the most in poorer nations, where food is already scarce, budgets are stretched to breaking, and malnutrition rates climb as families skip meals to survive. The Iran blunder has now broken bread for millions worldwide, and here's the devastating breakdown from Think Global Health's April 1, 2026 report. Asia braces for a staggering 24% surge in acute hunger, with rice paddies failing, wheat imports stalled, and families in India, Pakistan, and beyond rationing meals amid fertilizer shortages ripping through the world's largest population centers. West and Central Africa faces a 21% hunger spike, where conflict zones already teeter on famine now grapple with delayed nitrogen supplies, turning marginal farms into dust bowls and pushing vulnerable kids towards starvation in nations like Nigeria and Mali. East and Southern Africa will see hunger rise by 17%, as maize and sorghum yields plummet from missed planting windows, exacerbating droughts in Ethiopia, Zimbabwe, and South Africa with supply lines choked by the Iran war's ripple effects. Latin America and the Caribbean confront a 16% increase, hitting soy and corn belts in Brazil, Argentina, and Haiti hardest, where export disruptions and rising costs leave urban poor scavenging for scraps in a region blindsided by distant Middle East fallout. The Middle East and North Africa endures a 14% uptick, ironically closest to the conflict, with subsidized bread vanishing from tables in Egypt, Yemen, and Syria as fertilizer flows halt and prices soar in the shadow of Hormuz blockades. José Andrés proposes a straightforward 3% peace tax on global GDP to decisively end the mounting global hunger crisis, channeling funds directly into fertilizer stockpiles, emergency aid corridors, and resilient farming networks to shield vulnerable regions from war-induced shocks. Even a modest 2 to 3% price rise in food staples remains fully manageable for everyday Americans with their stable incomes and subsidies, but proves utterly devastating elsewhere across the developing world, as World Central Kitchen founder José Andrés emphasizes in his urgent call to action. Haiti-like fragile economies now teeter on the brink of acute suffering as supply disruptions from Hormuz tensions deepen, with José Andrés warning of collapsed markets, empty warehouses, and mass desperation in island nations and small states already battered by poverty and instability. Even if the Iran war grinds to a halt right now, experts predict persistent price spikes in grains, fertilizers, and basics will linger for years, keeping costs brutally elevated globally and prolonging the pain for farmers, consumers, and governments caught in the aftermath. Food staples are slipping even further out of reach for millions worldwide who already skip meals daily, forcing tough choices between rice and rent, as war ripples turn affordable nutrition into a luxury in slums from Manila to Mumbai. The World Food Programme warns that a prolonged Iran war combined with $100 per barrel oil could shove another 45 million people straight into acute hunger, overwhelming aid systems and sparking unrest in hotspots from sub-Saharan Africa to Southeast Asia. As this crisis explodes in scale and complexity with every passing day, President Trump pushes aggressively for renewed diplomatic outreach to Iran, aiming to de-escalate tensions, reopen trade routes, and avert the famine catastrophe looming on the horizon.
Are you considering extending the ceasefire with Iran?
With who?
With Iran.
We're doing very well, I can tell you. Maybe it'll happen before that. I'm not sure it needs to be extended. Just so you know, Iran wants to make a deal, and we're dealing very nicely with them. We've got to have no nuclear weapons. If we do, that's a big factor. And they're willing to do things today that they weren't willing to do 2 months ago.
Do you have any news about Ukraine? Do you have any news regarding peace in Ukraine?
Will Hezbollah stick to the ceasefire? Are you confident about that?
I think they will. I think it's going to be, actually, it's very exciting because it's 48 years. We're going to be meeting with Bibi Netanyahu, as you know, and the president of Lebanon. And I had a great talk with both of them today. They're going to be having a ceasefire, and that'll include Hezbollah. And I think it could be number 10 for me.
If there's no deal, would you be willing to extend the ceasefire, or will the fighting resume, Mr. President?
I would say the fighting. If there's no deal, fighting resume.
Just for clarity, you're willing to extend the ceasefire through
Well,
a
we'll
new
see.
deal?
I don't know that we'll have to. Ideally, we'll, but if I needed to, I would. So very important is that Iran does not have a nuclear weapon, and they've agreed to that. Iran's agreed to that, and they've agreed to it very powerfully. They've agreed to give us back the nuclear dust that's way underground because of the attack we made with the B-2 bomber. So we have a lot of agreement with Iran, and I think something's going to happen very positive.
Would you ever go to Pakistan to seal the deal yourself?
I would go to Pakistan, yeah. Pakistan has been great. They've been so good. Islamabad, I might go. Yeah, I might go. If the deal is signed in Islamabad, I might go. The field marshal has been great. The prime minister has been really great in Pakistan. So I might go. They want me to. It's very exciting. With Lebanon, it's very exciting. I think we're going to have a deal. We're going to have a meeting, first time in 44 years. And Lebanon will be meeting with Israel, and they're probably going to do it at the White House.
When do you think, President, when do you think they will?
Over the next week or two.
Or the next week. And do you see this agreement can reach?
I do. I think we will have an agreement between Lebanon, and they're going to take care of Hezbollah. But they're going to be working on Hezbollah right now. But we'll have an agreement between Israel, very importantly, and Lebanon.
Will you support our Lebanese army as well in
I
order
would,
to join Hezbollah?
yeah.
Iran's going to...
I would.
Iran's going to execute...
Has Hezbollah agreed to the ceasefire? I mean, how do you even...
They're all agreeing. It's a very nice little package for about a week. And we're not going to have lots of bombs dropping. And we're going to see if we can make peace between Lebanon and Israel. So we just made a deal with Lebanon. As of 2 hours from now, we have a ceasefire with Israel and Lebanon, and that'll be great. And they'll be meeting, probably coming to the White House over the next 4 or 5 days. And that'll be the first time they've met in 44 years, which is pretty unneighborly when considering they're neighbors. But there's a really good chance that that'll work out with Lebanon and Israel. I met with, through the telephone, with the president of Lebanon, who's a really good guy, highly respected, and with Bibi. And I think there's a chance we'll be meeting right here in the not too distant.
Have the Epstein survivors received justice? Do you think the Epstein survivors received justice?
Israel and Lebanon have tried to make peace before. What's going to be the difference this time?
Me. I'm the dude. Big difference. Me.